Hello. As you might notice, I'm in the same jumper. I am trying to do multiple videos in one day, just getting them out because I need to revise because otherwise my A levels are in the mud. Anyway, this video will be beginning of attachment, which is the first topic on paper one which I learned from school. And see, we've got a lot on the board, but I'll go through that in a minute. So, a definition for attachment would really be it's an emotional bond between two people in which each seeks closeness and feels more secure when they're present. Okay, so what you experience here when say the two people haven't been together for quite a while. So that happens more with younger people. You might see some like separation anxiety. Well, let's say younger people. It's going to be infants. Or you look at that more later on in the course when you see Mary Ainsworth's strange situation. There's a sense of comfort when they're around each other. Say with the mother and the baby, especially. There's that form of attachment which is very strong. It tends to be the first form of attachment a baby has, and when the baby's with the mother, both are very happy. Both, they don't have to seek that closeness because it's already there. And what we're going to focus on specifically today is infant-caregiver interactions, which is the first thing I did. And there's two forms of it, especially from an early age. You've got reciprocity and you've got interactional synchrony. And in an exam, I tend to get these quite mixed up. And I'll explain why after I've given a definition. So, reciprocity is it's a conversation between the infant and the caregiver. I'll give an example of, say, perhaps smiling. Pardon me. Yeah, I had to just research something. So say with the smiling, I don't particularly get it, but I was looking at Simply Psychology as a good source. And now I've read over it again, and I now understand. So smiling, say when the infant smiles, the caregiver might smile back. It's not them doing it at the same time, and I'll explain myself in a bit. That's like a conversation. So if the infant smiles at something and the caregiver smiles back, that's one action, and we're smiling with another action. So we've got the AO1 here, which is what I've just said, and we've got the AO3 here. The AO1 in an exam, I'm going to go off the fact that no one knows what AO1 and AO3 is, which I'm hoping is not the case. AO1's just like the content of what you're learning, and the AO3 in psychology is evaluating. And with a 16 marker, which you maybe could get on this, it'd be 10 marks for AO3 and 6 marks for AO1. Not only that, you do have AO2 as well, which is linking back to whatever's being said. You might get like a little extract of something to say. Two people are talking, and the topic of this comes up, and you have to link it back. But that doesn't matter at the moment. The AO3, it's seen by Jaffe et al. Spelled Jaffe. I don't know what date it is. But he basically said that the babies move in a rhythm when interacting with an adult, like people doing conversations. So that almost prepares them for what's going to happen for them in later life. You can really see it as a very early age, which it gives the idea of reciprocity some strength and some validation and stuff. And it also becomes for the baby, obviously for the baby becomes the basis of developing the basic of trust and mistrust. That's just what the website says. Yeah, which makes sense because obviously when you're a baby, you do have to learn stuff from scratch. I mean, it seems obvious now. We are all older, and no babies are watching this. You don't think like that, but this is obviously what happens. You'd have to learn from somewhere. Anyway, so we've covered this and this. Obviously, if you want it in more detail beyond me, which I don't blame you if you do, then there's plenty of websites and YouTube channels on there. Tutor to You on YouTube's pretty good and it goes into good detail and all that stuff. But yeah. Anyway, so we got the next part, which is what I get confused with, interactional synchrony, and I get these reciprocity and that mixed up. The interactional synchrony is a mirror between both the infant and the caregiver. So say the caregiver's tickling the baby, right? I don't know why I'm doing the hand gestures, but anyway, tickling the baby, and the baby's laughing. The caregiver might laugh with the baby. Okay, and that's synchronizing. It's mirroring what each other are doing. Okay, and I get that confused. I've always thought that reciprocity was that, just because I feel like you're reciprocating it, but you don't want to get that confused. Synchrony, synchronizing. Okay, you're mirroring. Whereas reciprocity is the conversation one. That's very important to remember because I've lost marks on that. We've got the area 3. We'll start off with the red one, and that is a bit of a negative to it. And obviously, when researching into babies and that, you have to understand, especially with this, you have to understand that it's very difficult to understand their perspective of things. They might just be reacting for God knows what reason. It might have nothing to do with this. And that's something you've got to take into consideration when you're doing research on this subject. But anyway, yeah. And a good point, as here just above the red, is that the research is valid. And this research is valid as babies' behaviour does not change due to researcher effects. And researcher effects is say with older people, if you work at you're being examined, you might change your behaviour to suit the researcher. Just because you're being examined, but that's not the case here. A baby has not got a clue if they're being examined. They're just acting the way they do, and that gives it good validity. As I've said, I don't go into the best detail. I don't fully know the course very well, but I'm trying my best. I feel like I've covered everything, but if not, leave a comment. I'll address it in some form in another video. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.